Our objective of today's lesson is students will be able to find the degree and leading coefficient of a polynomial function. Our essential question is, how can I find the degree and leading coefficient of a polynomial function? So these are some of the key terms which we will be using in this section over here. First is the definition of algebra. So what is algebra? The branch of mathematics that deals with relationship between numbers, including letters and other symbols to represent specific set of numbers. Or it is also used to describe a pattern of relationship between numbers. Then our next definition is about binomial expression. What is a binomial expression? It is an algebraic expression with two unlike terms. Next is our coefficient, a number multiplied by a variable. That's yours coefficient. So for example over here, if I am having something like this 5x square, what is this 5? This is called as what? This is known as what? Coefficient of this expression, because it is multiplied by variable. X is what? X is your variable over here. Constant term, a quantity that does not change its values. For example, I am writing 10. So when we read this number is 10. I cannot read this number as 11, 12 or 15 or 5. This means it is a constant. This means it never changes its value. Expression, a mathematical phrase involving at least one variable. Let's take an example x, and sometimes numbers and operation symbols. So let's take an example. I wrote 6x. That's our expression. If I do plus 5, it is an expression. So 6x square plus 5x minus 3, that's also an expression, because it involves variables over here, at least one variable, and sometimes number. It involves numbers and operation symbols like plus and minus sign. Factors, when two or more integers are multiplied, each integer is a factor of the product. To factor means to write the number or term as a product of its factor. Integers or positive and negative numbers, when we take them together, those are known as your integers. If you remember number line, positive numbers and negative numbers, that's your integers. What is irrational numbers? Irrational numbers simple means you will see something with a radical sign, that's your irrational numbers. They are also known as non-terminating and non-repeating decimal numbers. Alright, these cannot be written in the form of a over b. So this means whenever you see any radical, these are these are all yours irrational numbers. There are some more definitions over here. Long division. Alright, this is an algorithm for dividing. That's a process of dividing a polynomial by another polynomial. Monomial means what? An expression with only one term. If in case I'm writing 5x, that's your monomial. I'm writing 6x squared, that's a monomial. Even I write 10, that's also a monomial. Or just I'm writing x over here, that's also a monomial. Y, that's also a monomial. Pascal's triangle, a number triangle with numbers arranged in staggered row, just as a sub n r is equal to n factorial. This symbol is what? This symbol is known as what? Factorial symbol. Where n over equal to n over r, where it should be a coefficient, it should be r is a binomial coefficient. Polynomial, the sum or difference of two or more monomials, that's called polynomial. So let's take an example. I wrote over here 2x square. This is one monomial. 3x, this is one monomial, and if I put a plus sign over here and one more over here, so this means I got three monomials. Sum or difference of two or more monomials, that's called what? Polynomials. A polynomial function, this is an example of a polynomial function. F of x is equal to a0 xn and so on like this. That's the standard definition of polynomial function. A rational number. So if in case you want me to write a polynomial function, I can write it like this: 10x square plus 5x minus 3. That's an example of polynomial function. Rational number, a number expressible in the form of a over b or negative a over b, or for some fraction a over b. The rational number includes the integer. That's your rational number. Anything in the form of fraction, I can write it this 2 over 3, I can write negative 2 over 3, anything. That's your rational number. Standard form of a polynomial: to express the polynomial by putting the terms in descending exponent powers. So let's take an example. I can write in polynomial like this also: 5y to the power 3 plus 3y square plus 2y minus 5. You see these powers over here, they are decreasing, 3, 2 and 1 over here. This is how we write in the standard form of polynomial. Synthetic division, that's a shortcut method of polynomial division, which we will be learning more about in the upcoming session. Term, what is a term? A number, I can write a number 5, that's a term. Variable, I can write a number z square, x, whatever is, I can write it over here, that's a term. I can write xy. Okay, product of number and variable, 5xy, 6x square, these all are terms. Trinomial, as the name says tri, this means when you are having 3 monomials, this means they will be known as trinomial. It's say 3 unlike terms. Variable, a letter or symbol used to represent a number. This means all your alphabets A, B, C, D. Okay, whenever I write like this, x is equal to 5, these all are letters which are used to represent a number. And whole numbers are what? Whole number starts from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, those are whole numbers. Along with this, there is something called natural numbers. Natural numbers are what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. These are natural numbers, but when you include 0 over here, now this is known as what? Whole numbers. Alright, so this is about our number system over here. So our real number system, it comprises of 2 types of numbers. One is your rational numbers, one is your irrational numbers. I have already explained to you about rational number. Example is 3 over 5, and irrational numbers are radical. And sometimes in some of the books you will also see the rational numbers will be like this, surds. They call it surds also. Then rational numbers, they are divided in integers. Integers are what? Positive and negative numbers taken together, they are integers. Then integers, we are having it's a 0, that's your whole number. I told you on the previous screen. 1 to 9 are natural numbers, but when you include 0, it becomes whole numbers. And natural numbers are these over here. Alright, this is a number system practice over here. It says drop each number in the most specific category. Each category will only be used once. Alright, so let's try to do this this problem over here. Let me change the color of the ink. Alright, so I will just go one or two problems. Now what is a 0? That's your whole number, it goes over here. Since I cannot move it, we just write it. Irrational number, that's your 7 over here. Okay, so and rest is yours, you should do at your own discretion over here. I just did do for you. Since I explained you in the previous slides, you should try working on this exercise on your own. Please make sure you take notes and use these notes when you are taking tests and quizzes also. Alright, so these are your notes for polynomials over here. I have already explained to you the definition of polynomial, so I will keep it simple over here. This is an example of what? Polynomial. A polynomial can have exponents. You can see these powers, only whole number exponents. This means you cannot have x to the power negative 25. Okay, usually x and y constants like negative 1 in the polynomial above. I think no, you can have this also, right? Polynomial cannot have division by variables. This means what? Yeah, I was right. So we cannot have division by variables, because if I will rewrite it, it will look like this to you. So this is not a polynomial. Okay, negative exponents, so negative exponent, no, this is not a polynomial. Fraction exponents, if I write it like this, x to the power 2 over 5, that's not a polynomial. So this part is kind of very important for you, so please pay attention. When you take the test or quiz, you might have questions like this. A polynomial, you should keep in mind, it cannot be divided by variables, negative exponent, fraction exponent. And I gave you some examples in the tabular form over here. This is your polynomial, but this is not your polynomial. Why? Because the power is a fraction over here. In this case, it is okay, but in this case, this polynomial, this is inside the square root, so this is not a polynomial. Again, 5 is fine, but divided by x is not a polynomial. This is okay, but this is not okay over here. So these are your notes. So please copy these notes also. Alright, so now let's practice. Is this a polynomial? I want you to look over here and tell me. I see no fraction, nothing. It's a polynomial. Yes. What about this? Yes, you are right. There's a x in the denominator. This is not a polynomial. What about this one? Oops, negative exponent, no polynomial. And I will leave number 4, 5 and 6 for you to practice. So figure out whether it's a polynomial or not. I want you to pause this video and give like around 30 seconds, solve these problems, and then we see. I believe you pause the video and let's see. Yes, this is a polynomial because x are in the numerator. This one is not a polynomial because we have exponents over here x, and this is a polynomial. If you got all three right, give yourself a round of applause. Good job. Let's go to the next one.
Good morning, faculty staff.
Sorry about that. Our next definition is degree of a polynomial. It's very important because it relates to our chapter over here. The degree of a polynomial in one variable. So this definition means what? When I'm having like this, f of x is equal to x to the 3x to the power 5. The degree of a polynomial in one variable is the greatest exponents of its variable. Let's take an example. I'm also having like this 3x to the power 3. Then I have just our right over pretend, oops, that's 17. Okay. So degree of a polynomial is one variable. One variable means this is x over here, is the greatest exponents of its variable. So greatest exponent is 5. So when I will say degree of this is what, I write degree is equal to what? 5 of this polynomial function over here. Okay, so there's something we do. What about leading coefficient? The coefficient of the variable with the greatest exponent is called leading coefficient. So now in this question over here, I have written in a different way. That's not a standard form. How you find the leading coefficient? First of all, you find the greatest exponent. This means degree of this. So degree is the highest value of x. This is 18, 10. This is 22. That's the highest value. And you will just take this term over here. So what is the coefficient in front of this? That's your 250. So this is called what? This is called leading coefficient. Okay. Now I want to again bring this back to your attention. This is called coefficient. This is called coefficient, and this is also called coefficient. But between these three, which is the leading coefficient? 250 is the leading coefficient because this term is having highest power over here. Okay, that's your degree. This is to keep in mind. Let's practice some problems. Question says, put the polynomial in standard form. Standard form means you look at the degrees of x and highest degree goes first. So this means no degree means 1, 2, 4. Okay, so this will go first. Okay, check. What about this one? This is the second degree descending order. Check. Okay, I will write minus 3x square. Check. And this is your plus 5x. Check. And that's your minus 2. So this is how you write the polynomials in standard form. All right. Let's do one more problem. What about this one? I want you to pause the video and do this problem on your own. Once you have paused the video, and you can just check your answer with mine. All right. So I believe you pause the video, and this is my answer over here. Did you got the same answer? If you got the same answer, you are good to go. Good job. This was super easy for you. Okay, now on this slide, we will learn about find the coefficient of x, and I says find the coefficient of x in the following polynomial function. After finding coefficient, also find the leading coefficient. Spelling is incorrect. It should be like this, of the given polynomial function. So let's first of all talk about coefficient. This 2 is a coefficient, negative 5 is a coefficient, and 10 is also a coefficient because you don't see anything, but it means 10x0. It should be like this. So we got coefficient what? We are having coefficient. Those are about 2, negative 5 and 10. What about our leading coefficient? Leading coefficient, first of all, you need to look at the highest power, 0 to, this is highest power. I told you, you should draw a box around it. Now tell me what is the coefficient in front of this term with the highest degree? 2. So leading coefficient is 2. Alright. Let me go over one more problem with you so it can become easy. Okay, first of all, let's write coefficient over here. Coefficients. So I have 6 over here, then I have negative 20, then I have negative 3, and then I have 2. What about a leading coefficient? To find leading coefficient, first of all, we will find the term with the highest power. And I can clearly see this 4 is the highest power over here. Degree, this is 4 over here. So what is the leading coefficient? That will be 6. Okay. Alright. Let's practice one more problem. What about this one? I just move the terms here and there. So when I talk about coefficients over here, this means the term which is in front of the variable. So 4 is my coefficient, negative 5. Yes, you are right, 7 and negative 12. What about leading coefficient? Okay, let's check for the degrees of x. 2, 5, this is bigger than this. What about this one? That's the highest one. Alright, and I will draw a box around it. So degree for this whole function is 9, but the leading coefficient is what? 7. Alright, and number 4 I will leave it on for you. Pause the video and find the answer for this one. Alright, so let's check it. Now you don't see any number in front of this. This means there's invisible 1. So your coefficient is yours 1, then your 5 and negative 10. What about leading coefficient? Highest power is 12, so let's do like this. What number is in front of it? You don't see any number. This means leading coefficient is 1. I hope this helps. Everything should be clear to you. Please make sure you take notes, and when you take test or quizzes, use your notes on that. Alright, so next question says, find the degree of x in the following polynomial function. Alright, so now how we find the degree is highest power of x over here. Okay, let's okay. Now I want you to look at the x values. The degree of x is 3. In this case, your degree of x is 2. There is nothing. This means degree of x is 0. Now, what is the highest power? 3. So your degree is what? Degree is yours 3. Okay. What about this one? So let's check the highest power. 4, 3, 2, and this is your 0. So yes, highest power is this. So degree of x is what? 4 over here. Okay, I want you to pause the video and do number 3 and 4 on your own. Okay, go ahead and pause the video. Alright, I believe you paused it. Let's check what is your degree over here. Let's check your degree. So my degree is 2, again is 5, that's your 9, and this is your 0. So your degree is what? 9 over here. What about this one? Your degree is what? That's yours 12 over here. Let's do one more thing over here. How about let's find the leading coefficient. Tell me what is the leading coefficient. So whenever you see the degree, you draw a box. This number will be your leading coefficient. What about yours? This is your 4. What is the leading coefficient? That's your 6. In this case, that's yours. So leading coefficient is what? That's your 7. What about this one? Yes, now you know this. Leading coefficient is 1. Alright, let's do one more problem. Now this is a different question. See, this says find the degree of x. You see this? It specifically talks about degree of x. But this one talks about degree and leading coefficient of the polynomial function. Alright, so we have to find the degree and leading coefficient of whole function. The problem over here is earlier we were having x, but we have x and y over here. What to do over here? So in these types of situation, what you do is you will add these two powers. Okay. So what is the total power? 9. Alright. So degree of this polynomial function or monomial is little one is 9. What about this one over here? This is your 3 plus 2. And that's yours what? 5. What about this one? This is your 2 plus 2 plus 3. That's your 7. Now tell me between these three numbers which is the largest one? This one. So let's draw a box around this. We can just say degree of this polynomial function is 9, and leading coefficient will be the number which is the coefficient for this monomial. So that's your 3. So do keep in mind, if the question says find the degree and leading coefficient of polynomial function, you will do like this. But if you say only find the degree of x, you just do like that. I hope this helps. And one more question we will practice. I want you to pause the video and do this problem. This is the last question in this for this session. Okay, so I will do now. I believe you already have the answer with you. So I will add these powers. 9 plus 2 is 11. Okay, what about this one? This is your 4 plus 4 plus 4. That's your 12. Sorry about these notifications. And this is yours 8 plus 9 plus 6. That's your 15 plus how much? 17, 23. And this one is, there's nothing. It's a 0 over here. So tell me which is the highest, largest number. So this one is, I think this is ours. So we go over here. So degree is what? 23. What about leading coefficient? That's your 20. And always make sure you pay attention to this plus sign. If it's a negative sign, then our leading coefficient will be minus something. So that's it for this session. Thank you very much. If you have any question, please feel free to let me know. Have a great day.